thing
Yeah.
is a lot of these soccer clubs have GPS technology, and cool guys, like I use it as ammunition to show parents how much people
Mhm.
are doing, and then parents are like, "Look at the data, we need a break." So that's good for that. But too
Mhm.
often I see these club coaches not looking at the data, or B, they're looking at the data, but they're not doing anything with it.
Mhm.
They're just like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, workload has been sitting at an 8 out of 10 for the past month. And yeah, that doesn't seem right, but we're just going to keep going. And my question is then what's the
Mhm.
point of the GPS system if it's not solution based, if you're not doing true load management? And technology can be used for such good, but it also can be ruined by people who don't
Mhm.
know how to analyze the data. And that's a big problem in soccer right now.
Mhm. It's such a problem, and, like you said, I just find those that don't know how to analyze the data are just using the word, like, "We have technology," as, like, a
Mhm.
sales pitch, as though it sounds like I care about my athlete your athletes, but we actually don't know what this means or what we need to change, so we don't, but we have the data. It's just like, "Cool, that sounds nice, but you don't do anything with it. Alright, why did you waste your money on the technology besides to use it as a selling point for me?" It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I've heard that before, that they get them for the selling point. And I've had coaches chime in on Twitter when I talk about this stuff, and they're like, "Well, like it's competitive to get people to play for your club and we want to show that we have all this stuff." And I'm like, "Okay, great, but you're kind of lying to people right off the bat, because then once they're in with you with your team, you're not using it. So you're lying." I hate
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. Me too. It's like, where's your moral code? Like, do we not have moral codes? We're working with youth. Like, I feel like
Mhm.
that should be the paramount characteristic of any business, any club, any coach that you deal with. It should have a moral code, because if not, why are you exposing your youth to them? They're kids. They're kids. They're still developing. We need to teach them these values of, like, hey, it's nice to make money, but it's more important to make sure that you're healthy, strong, and well rounded. That's what's most important.
It is, and for the coaches listening, I mean, there's so many great resources on load management, and if you really take the time to learn it, or if you don't have time, outsource it to someone else, please do so. And please inform your female athletes what this data means and
Mhm.
how they can take actionable steps to use the data to stay healthy. That's why the technology is there in the first place. It's there to
Mhm.
keep girls healthy. So for all you tech people, make sure you're actually making the most of it.
Absolutely.
So I do want to just wrap up. So we talked a lot about overuse and the year-round grind. Do you have any just closing thoughts for people, for just non-negotiable things we all need to be doing for just staying healthy year round? I mean, we've talked about strength training before, and our best athletes strength train year round and stay the healthiest, but is there anything else we need to be focusing on?
Oh, sleep and nutrition, right? I feel like those are the three pillars of just, well, really four when it comes to
Mhm.
just mental work as well. But sleep, if your athlete's not sleeping 8 hours a night, why are you letting her work, like do all of these things? She needs it, not just for like her sport, but her brain isn't done developing. She needs sleep. That's where that growth occurs from a mental, from her brain actual standpoint. Nutrition. Does she know what a protein, carb, and fat are? Does she understand what they do for her body? Because these are the fundamentals of nutrition. A lot of times we find issues where parents are like, well, I want my daughter to learn how to gain muscle. I want my daughter to lose weight. Where it's like, okay, great. We're going to focus on the fundamentals, because I can't teach anything until the fundamentals are understood. That's like saying you want to learn calculus, but you don't know how to add. Let's understand the addition and subtraction before we go crazy, because oftentimes you can reach your goals by the fundamentals. Obviously, like we said, strength and conditioning training year round. And then that last part is checking in on your athlete, that mental stress. How is she feeling? And that's going to coincide with how much rest is she getting from her sport? Are we burning the candle at both ends? Take a look at her schedule. I urge parents to sit down and actually calculate how many hours per week is my daughter actually doing in sport? How does that look over the course of months? Is she not getting a month that she's less than 10 hours? That's a problem. And that's something that's like a low-hanging fruit. We can focus on them. Pick a summer month. Pick Give me at least 2 months where your athlete isn't engaged in some type of competitive play and all she's doing is focusing on her body in terms of being strong and healthy and she's having fun. Because if we focus on those 4 main areas, we're going to lead these girls not only to success now, but to success in the future. And that's what we want for these girls long